Cheers! If you're an entrepreneur, a speaker, a coach, someone who is genuinely good at what you do, but somehow still invisible online, this video is for you. And before we dive in, I want to tell you something. There's one mistake I see almost every personal brand make. A mistake that is so common, so quietly accepted, that most people don't even realize they are doing it. I'll tell you exactly what it is in just a moment. But first, cheers! Welcome back to my channel. This is Burcu. I am your brand and business growth strategist. This is the Authenticity Code video series number 2, where each video we go letter by letter through what it truly means to build a brand that is genuinely, powerfully, unmistakably you. And most importantly, a brand that converts. So you don't have an expensive hobby, you will have a real business. So stay with me. Last video, we talked about the first letter, A, which was alignment. If you missed that, you can watch it here and then come back to this one because it's all attached to each other. So go watch that one first and come back to this one. Today, we are diving into the second letter of authentic word, which is U. U stands for uniqueness. And no, I don't mean be you, just be you, be yourself. We are not talking about that. I mean the specific, human, irreplaceable thing about you that no logo, no color palette, and no content strategy can replace. By the end of this video, you will have 4 questions that will uncover the most magnetic sentence in your brand. And once you find it, everything changes. So grab a pen and paper or take your tablet to take notes wherever you do, but make sure you follow through this video. If you do that, you're going to make the most out of this video. Let's get started. I can be honest with you. I'm always honest with you. I will tell you about where I started. I didn't launch a polished brand. I didn't even have a website for almost 2 years when I started working. Not a perfect strategy, not AI, obviously, not a perfect team behind me. I started from zero and from another language. As you know, English is not my mother tongue, so I built a life until 25 in Turkish, and then I decided to change my career, change my language, change my country, just everything, and start a business in that language, in English. So there was no audience, no established name, no one waiting for what I had to say. And yet today, I work with entrepreneurs, speakers, and coaches across more than 23 countries. I get invited to speak in different countries, cities. I have built something that travels further than I physically can. Of course, physically is better. I like to travel, but it travels by itself. Something that feels like me, sounds like me, and attracts the exact right people, even when I'm not in the room. That's another saying, metaphor I use for personal brand. So you'll see that, what it means. So if you haven't watched any of the videos, go check out personal branding tips videos and you will see what the room metaphor means. And my turning point, it wasn't a new method. It wasn't better branding photos. It was the moment I stopped trying to be someone else, trying to sound like everyone else, like every speakers, every coaches, whatever they do, stopped trying to be everyone else and started showing up as the full specific, irreplaceable version of who I already was and being more of it. That's what I want for you today and every day from now. And it starts with understanding what uniqueness really means in your brand, in your message, in the way you show up. Let's remember a quote by poet Maya Angelou. I open almost every speech with it. Every workshop, every conversation about personal branding. Maya Angelou said, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Powerful, right? Absolutely. And yet, it's missing something. It is missing you. Here's what the quote teaches us. Make people feel something. Inspire them. Move them. Nothing wrong with that at all. We need that. We need to move people. That's why we are building a personal brand. That's totally true. But here's what it skips entirely. How do you feel first? How am I right now? And how am I showing up to serve my clients? Before you try to make others feel something, you need to come back to yourself. You probably heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to pour yourself first. That's why you always have a cup of coffee for you and then you give it to others, right? So you have to fill your own cup, feel good about it, and then you can offer someone else. And this, my friend, is the mistake I see almost every personal brand make. Every entrepreneur, every speaker, every coach make this mistake. We are so focused on the outside, how to impress others, how to be the best at what we do, get more training, more certificates, how to leave a legacy. And I can't blame you. It's super normal in this century that we are trying to be so many things that social media teaches us, influencers show us, and the AI and everything. But you can always take a step back and do the first letter, alignment. If this is aligned with me, and then ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Learn the new trend, write the book, start a podcast, build the audience, refine the offer. And somewhere in all of that, we forget that you are the brand. Not the credentials, not the method, not the perfectly crafted bio. Your energy, your presence, the way you show up, the way you speak, the way you do things. This is what makes you stand out. So the problem isn't that you don't have enough content or enough strategy or enough followers. That's another myth, that you have to have a lot of followers. No, you have to look at your revenue, how much you make, and how many followers you have. It's not the same. It's not in the same direction. It can be totally opposite, which is for me. The problem is that most people are trying to build a brand around themselves instead of building a brand from themselves. And that gap, that's exactly where invisible feeling lives. Let's talk about what actually uniqueness means. Here's what I've seen working across 23 countries with entrepreneurs and speakers at every level. The people who build the most magnetic brand and business, most memorable, most revenue generating brands, they are not the ones with the most polished profiles. At least they haven't started that way. They are not the ones with the most followers or the fanciest, most expensive website. They are the ones who stopped trying to sound like everyone else and owned their uniqueness, their story. They stopped editing themselves down to fit to a mold And they started showing up as the full, specific, irreplaceable version of themselves. Here's the thing about personal branding that most people get backwards. Personal branding is not about creating a persona. It's about becoming more of who you truly are. Because when your identity, your message, and your strategy finally work together, showing up feels powerful. Selling feels natural. And the right people will find you in so many different mysterious, miraculous ways. Because they can feel the difference. Your brand needs to smell and smile like you. There's nothing, no strategy can replace, and no AI can replace the thing only you bring. Your accent, your story, your unusual path, your too much energy. That's what I was called years ago in corporate world. You're too much. Too many colors you use, too loud you speak, too many laughter around you. The thing people have told you is weird. That is often the very thing they remember. It all starts with knowing deeply, specifically, what makes you you. Now let's see the 4 questions I promised you. Like I said, get a pen, paper, tablet, wherever you're going to take notes. If you need to, you can pause the video and then continue. And these are not surface level questions. Some of them will feel uncomfortable. And that discomfort, that's usually where the gold is. Question 1. What makes you different from everyone else doing what you do? Now let me be very clear on this. I'm not asking about your credentials. I have this certificate and I graduated from this school and that. I am not asking your method either. I'm asking about the real thing, the human thing. Complete the sentence out loud or in writing. The thing that makes me different from everyone else doing what I do is, most people go blank here, or they reach straight for their certifications, their years of experience. I'll give you an example. What makes me different from everyone else doing what I do is, I don't teach people how to become someone else to succeed. I help them become more of who they are strategically. Here's what I've noticed. The answer that actually converts, the answer that makes someone stop scrolling and think, wait, I need to talk to this person. It's never the credential. And a side note here, I'm not saying you don't need any credentials. Of course you do. But what makes you you is not about them. It's not about the credentials. What you bring to the table as you. It's the story behind the credential. It is your story, why you do what you do. The thing that made you go down to this path in the first place. That's your answer to question 1. Question 2. What have you been toning down or apologizing for? That is actually your greatest asset. This one gets people every time. The thing people judged me for years. Your accent, your directness, your joyful energy, your jokes, the way you see the world differently from everyone else in your industry. The thing you've been quietly hiding, editing out of your content, softening in your messaging, almost apologizing for when you walk into a room. Name it. Because I'll tell you what I have seen when people own this, when they stop apologizing and start leading with it. That's when the right clients start saying, you're exactly who I was looking for. Not despite that thing, because of it. Question 3. Now we're adding another sentence in front of what we just created. I help blank do blank, and what makes me different, the same thing continues. This is your brand sentence. And I want you to notice it has 3 parts. So we did the last one first. Now we need to add the first two. Who you help, what you help them do, and the specific, irreplaceable thing that makes you, makes you different from everyone else, makes you the person to help them do it. Not everyone else, but you. So let me give you an example from my sentence here. I help entrepreneurs, speakers, and coaches turn their story into a paid authority. So you know who you help with and what you do to help them. Question 4. What would only you do in your field? Getting deeper and deeper, right? This is the deepest one. If no one was watching what's already working for everyone else, what would you create? What would you say? What would you do differently? This question is about permission. Permission to stop looking sideways, to stop measuring yourself against the template, to stop asking, is this done? And start asking, is this mine? Because the market doesn't need another version of someone it's already seen. It needs you, the full version, the specific version, the version that hasn't been filtered down to fit in. So what would only you do? Write it down. While you're thinking, I'll tell you mine. When I first started in the personal branding space, owning my business, being in entrepreneurship journey, everything around me was about strategy, frameworks, funnels, positioning documents. It was all very structured, very tactical. And don't get me wrong, strategy matters. It absolutely does. And that's what I do with my clients. But only what works for them. Specifically for them. When I stopped asking what's working for everyone else and started asking, what's mine? What would work for me with my own identity, my mission, my vision, the way I work, the way of who I am. I realized I don't want to just help people build strategy. I want them to feel something first. I want the conversation start from the inside, not the outside. From who you are, not what you do. Then we combine them together, but starting with you. So that's what I have been doing. I'm bringing them back to their business. I'm bringing you back to what you do. So we build the business from you, from inside, not from outside. And that's warm energy, that without strategy working style, that's what people remember. That's what they come back for. That's what travels across 23 countries. So that's my answer for question 4. What's yours? And other part of uncovering your uniqueness is owning it. Now we discover what your uniqueness is, but are you ready to own it and show it fully, unapologetically, out loud? Because you cannot build a brand that converts by pretending to be someone else. The mask always falls off. One day, the world needs your brand, your story, your rules. So quick recap. Today we went deep on the U in authentic word. U is for uniqueness, not the polished kind, not the generic, just be yourself kind, the specific, human, irreplaceable kind. You have 4 questions now. Go back, pause, do it on your own pace. And I want to hear from you. Which of those 4 questions hits hardest? Drop in the comments. Drop in the comments. Now, if you want to go deeper on this, I have 2 things for you. First, if you haven't taken the free Authenticity Code quiz, your authentic archetype, you can go and take it. The link is in the description. It will help you understand your personal brand at a deeper level. Show you exactly which areas need more improvements. And at the end of the quiz, you'll also get the Authenticity Code framework for free. That's the ebook for you to understand all 9 letters of authentic word. Second thing, this one is big because I have been getting so many messages from you guys asking, Burcu, when are you doing something live? When can we actually work together? Well, for that case, we can always work together. You can always reach out to me, connect@joyburcu.com, and ask me your questions. We can jump on a call to see if it's a fit to work together or not. But this one specifically, the answer for me to go live is September 2026. I am launching the branding bootcamp. And if everything we talked about today or previous days resonated with you, if you thought I need to do this work properly, this is for you. Here's what I want you to do right now. DM me the word bootcamp on Instagram. Can see my account. So DM me the word bootcamp on Instagram and I will personally make sure you get on the wait list first. So if you feel any tiny pull, don't overthink, comment bootcamp, and it is going to be very affordable fee. 3-day, we will be live. We will have a hot seat. You get to ask questions. You get to be on VIP room with me, and you just get lots of content to start, even if you're starting from scratch your brand, or you're rebranding yourself, or you're just want to improve and scale. This is for you. Again, see you next week. Next week we will talk about T from the Authenticity Code. And if you haven't watched A, go watch the A, and then we will continue. Cheers.